And I'm also going to be talking to Will Cotterill from the Brighton Energy Co-op about a new opportunity in Brighton for you to get involved with the development of an alternative, I believe, solar power station. Hello, Will. Thanks very much for coming to the Environment Show.
Hello there. That's right. It's Brighton Energy Co-op. It's £350,000 solar installation that we're starting a co-op to finance and run.
And this is the plan is for this to actually be in Brighton and Hove.
Yes, that's right. It's an opportunity for people in Brighton to get involved with generating renewable energy in Brighton.
A solar. Let's get the basics out of the way first. A solar powered power station. So this is presumably, most people will have heard about solar panels. Lots of people have them on their roofs already. Public buildings have them. But I've not heard of an actual electricity generating station before, or maybe in other countries perhaps, but I've not heard of one in the UK. I mean, would this be the first one, or are there others?
Yes, this would be the UK's first community-owned solar power station. Power station is a scaled-up version, if you like, of the regular sort of solar panels on your roof situation. This one that we're talking about is 700 square metres, generating about 85,000 kilowatt-hours of electricity a year. So it's a large solar installation, if you like, which is a power station.
The thing that I find the most mysterious to me is this lead-in tariff, did you say, or feed-in tariff? What was that again?
The feed-in tariff
Yes.
system. Well, feed-in tariffs began in Denmark, and if you look at Denmark today, they have about 20% of their electricity generation is from renewable energy, principally because of this feed-in tariff system. And what it is, it's effectively a subsidy on renewably generated energy. So if you're generating from wind, if you're generating from solar, you get this cash on top of the money that you get paid for the electricity that you generate. So it's a subsidy on renewable energy.
And that comes from the government?
It actually comes through energy companies. So energy companies, by law, are but they have to give this money to people who are generating using renewable technology, and the energy companies then pass this on to the consumer. So in effect, the consumer is paying for this stuff to go on. It's about 3p on your average annual electricity bill, the feed-in tariffs. So I think that's quite interesting, because that means it's not going to be affected by these cuts that we hear everywhere.
Well, so where did this idea come from? I mean, you say that people have been doing this in other places, but not with solar power, but with wind power.
Yes. Well, if you look at Europe, the situation in Germany, for example, with the feed-in tariff system has incentivized many local communities in Germany to start doing this kind of thing, banding together to pool their resources to buy into wind systems and solar systems. And what you find in Germany now, that 20% of their electricity comes from community-owned organisations. In this country, we've been quite a bit slower off the mark, but there are about 7 energy co-ops in the UK. The most well-known is Baywind in Cumbria, and they've got about 1,300 members, and they raised £1.5 million to buy 3 big turbines in Cumbria. There's another one in Oxford which raised £2.5 million to buy about 5 turbines, and I think there's one in the West Country somewhere as well. So this is a model that's been working for wind power, and it hasn't yet been done with solar. So we feel that solar is a much more appropriate technology for cities because of planning issues and space issues and turbulence issues with the blades. So we're quite excited that this is a model that can be replicated in urban areas.
But you're talking about a return on investment. So is the idea that people buy shares in this co-op? I mean,
yes.
How will it work?
A co-op is similar to a regular company in that it has shares in it. Those shares are regulated differently. For example, the shares don't change in value. So it's a legal form that allows people to buy into it. And the shares allow you membership into the co-op. And once you're a member, you're entitled to a part of the revenue that comes in, or the profit that comes in. And that's subject to the articles of association and stuff. You might not want to give your profit to the members. You might want to reinvest it, as we do, in other carbon reduction schemes. So it's a kind of investment way of making some cash that you can actually use for other things, as well as giving members a return on their investment. If
people sort of then buy into this co-op thing, then will that mean that they'll have a kind of equal say to everybody else as to what happens, as you say, like whether any profits are reinvested or distributed? I mean, is that how it's going to work?
That's right. It's a one member. Membership guarantees you a vote, and if you have 10,000 shares, you get one vote. If you have one share, you get one vote. So it's a much flatter organisation.
Kind of democracy.
Kind of democracy,
yes. It's not like one of these kind of limited whatever. But, I mean, and you say that the investment should, you say, with the, tell me again.
The feed-in tariffs.
The feed-in tariffs thing where alternative renewable energy is subsidised by non-renewable energy, that you say that there should be a return of about 8% on whatever people invest.
Yes, it varies over the course of time, and some of the calculations are to do with how much electricity is going to cost in the future, because these things last for a long time. But on average, we'd say a return of around 8% for investors, which is pretty good.
That's not a bad sort of return.
Yeah.
But also, you are looking for people who aren't necessarily just motivated by the idea of making money, but people can join in simply because they want to support the development of renewable energy.
I think there is a huge number of people who are willing to put planet before profit, and certainly if you talk to people at Baywind, this co-op in Cumbria I mentioned, most of the people who've got involved with that are primarily interested in getting these things up, because we need renewable energy, and it just doesn't seem to be happening. So we need community initiatives to get renewable energy going. They're interested in the co-op ethos, and thirdly, they're interested in a financial return. So the financial return is great, but the most important thing is actually getting these things going. So I think it's about trying to rally the community in Brighton and Hove, people that are interested. The 17,000 people who voted for Caroline Lucas, they're all potentially interested in getting involved in this kind of thing. So that's what we're trying to sort of create a bit of a groundswell behind this.
Wonderful.